one's reduced to talking, I think, about general terms like being grown up, or a term that's rarely used here anymore. And see, and now I feel embarrassment because I'm going to sound like my grandfather or something. But the word citizen, the idea of being a citizen, it would be to understand your country's history and the things about it that are good and not so good, and how the system works, and taking the trouble to learn about candidates for political office, which means often reading stuff, which isn't fun. Sometimes it's boring. But when people don't do that, here's what happens. The candidates win who have the most money to buy television advertisements, because television advertisements are all most voters know about the candidates. Therefore, we get candidates who are beholden to large donors and become, in some ways, corrupt, which disgusts the voters and makes the voters even less interested in politics, less willing to read and do the work.
On the other hand, you can't forget about it. I mean, and
one of the things it causes is tension and unhappiness in people. I don't think it's very complicated, and I don't think I've named the only reason for it. The paradox is that sort of tension and complication and conflict in people also makes them very easy to market to, because I can say to you, feeling uneasy, life feels empty. Oh, here's something you can buy or something you can go do. It makes us. It makes for the economics term is inelasticity of demand. I demand all the time, no matter what the price of it is, and it works really well in an economic way. Emotionally, spiritually, in terms of citizenship, in terms of feeling like a meaningful part even of this country. Forget the world, And I'm sure the U.S. government's sort of arrogance and disdain for the rest of the world is unpleasant, but it's also a natural extension of certain cultural messages we send ourselves about ourselves that work very well in some ways and make us very rich and very powerful. It's all complicated.
The politics of America. Political leaders don't have the will to deal. The political will to deal.
I don't know about those guys. I mean, I'd be befuddled by them. I'm really befuddled. I guess it's just power and power strategies, and I got mine and you get yours. We talk now about the man who is now the president of the country. I hear people say he is going to have difficulty getting his health care plan through, or he is going to have trouble getting his stimulus. It's not his, it's ours. It's not a personal relationship. It's ours, or it's not ours. It's not his war against Bosnia. It's ours. So this confrontational, personal relationship with these leaders is really boring me a lot, because it's almost as though
they personalize the conflict.
That's right. As though we don't participate in it, although we don't have a share in it, except to criticize or to support in some very rudimentary, elementary, either-or way.
I want to come back to self.
Rather cloudy in the southeast. Patchy rain will arrive in the north later in the day. On FM, on long wave.
Yeah, the thing that struck me about superheroes is they're an imaginative genre. They're very imaginative, right? But they're an imaginative genre whose ultimate message is suspicion against the imagination, because the only really imaginative characters are the bad guys. You identify first with the bad guys. The bad guy's actually trying to do something, and then you kind of feel guilty about it and identify the guy beating up the bad guy. It's classic sort of Freudian thing going on there. And many people have talked about that. But what struck me was that if you're going to have these guys, like, imagine you're Superman, you could do almost anything. Like, the best thing you can come up to do is fight crime. I mean, you could be carving cities out of rocks. You could be doing anything. Just imagine the things you could do if you had, like, see-through things. You could fly. It's super powerful like that. And these guys are the least imaginative characters ever. But all they can do is they can be imaginative in terms of their clothes, their cars, and their houses, like consumption, basically, right? Whereas the only people who are trying to apply imagination on a political level are, of course, the evil guys.